What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Track 16. We got a bunch of things on the slate for you guys today. A couple of recaps, some predictions. Big week for the Cowboys playing the 49ers Sunday Night Football. And, of course, the 2-minute drill, the kids' picks, the stardom sit-ems. We got some niches for you guys towards later in the pod. But before we get started, let's reintroduce the cast. We got the Rook, we got the kid, the medical guy, and the analyst joining us for a four-way podcast here. No pause. Welcome, everybody. It's always good to have you guys back in the deal. Obviously, we're going to start out like we always start out. Let's get a little shatter the script action here. We got our wonderful Joy Taylor on speak. Shout out to my boy David Hellman, the only white guy to get removed from from speak. But I'm just playing around. But let's listen to Joy Taylor get into some Dallas Cowboys talk on speak.
Average giving up 19 points on defense. Right? The
I didn't know
fewest
she was black.
any team in the National Football League. And you talk about good defense. They was playing good defense. And the Cowboys really just beat these boys down, up and down the football field. I thought this win was big for the Cowboys, especially in this type fashion. How you throw,
Damn.
Well, I'm glad you just brought up that number. The real Cowboys are however the defense plays. That's the real Cowboys. So you said the Patriots defense.
Zero belief in that.
The Patriots defense was giving up 19 points, right? Dallas's offense scored 20 points. So the Patriots defense did what they always do. The Cowboys defense was responsible for the rest of the points on that board.
Break it down. Team game. Break it down, Joy Taylor. Break it
Except
down.
for one side of the ball is way better than the other side of the ball. And that side of the ball, the defense, sets up the offense to go score.
That's how you
And scores points on their own.
They do. A lot of them. A lot.
Definition of football.
Let's talk about it. They single-handedly, the defense single-handedly beat the Patriots 14-3.
Yes, they did.
You want to cut special teams out, which also isn't Dak in the offense, 12-3. That's still kind of a blowout for an NFL game.
That's taken away from the Cowboys.
No, it's not, because what happened last week is what Shady and I were talking about. What happens? What does this Dallas offense do that can't score in the red zone when the defense doesn't put?
Yeah, so obviously we got a guy in the end. I believe that's James Jones. You know, he's an actual honest, I feel like, NFL veteran who comes on there and keeps his composure and just gives sports takes. So I appreciate him for kind of sticking his ground there. But the kid, I want to start with your initial thoughts on this Shatter the Script video. Obviously Joy Taylor's comments. What are your thoughts?
A couple of things. One, I do agree with her about the Cowboys do go as the defense goes at this certain point of time. Obviously, you've seen the Cowboys defense, besides the Cardinals game, has completely dominated, especially with getting the turnovers, and not only just the turnovers, just scoring points with that. She had her numbers mixed up. The Cowboys scored 24 points on offense. You can't really discredit the whole offense like that. But yeah, we have a luxury right now of where the defense can score touchdowns, create turnovers, but I mean there's no knock on that. Like Ryan said in the video, that's just football. The offense, they have a few games to where they can, get better in the red zone, and we'll get more into that during the Cowboys section. But this shouldn't discredit the Cowboys offense in general. It's just our defense is so good right now. They're going to score points. That's more points for us. And I don't have too much to say, but I do agree with the defensive part. I just think she went a wrong way with kind of trying to disrespect the offense to an extent.
Yeah, and of course, Ryan?
I mean, I already said it, but that's the definition of football. I mean, you want to win in all three phases. So the offense scored 24 points, the defense scored 14, and I guess you can count special teams in there as well. I mean, yeah, we're struggling a little bit in the red zone, but to me, winning all three phases of the game means complete and utter domination. And there's been 4 games played. The Cowboys have done that in all 3, or 3 out of the 4. I don't see the problem with that. That's just discrediting how efficient the Cowboys have been on all sides of the ball this year. I mean, I'll keep that short and save it for the Cowboys segment, but I just think that's just a ridiculous take. And that's like the name of the game at ESPN is like they have to double down on everything they say, even when like the Cowboys look that good. If like the 49ers or like the Bills did that, like they have before, they're all sitting there drinking the Kool-Aid. So it's just because there's a star on the side of the helmet, per usual. So
yeah. And of course, the medical guy.
Yeah, kind of to just reiterate what everybody else is saying, it's just ridiculous that because one side of the ball does really well, the other side didn't do very well. And like Hunter said, 24 points were scored from the offense. And even if so many points were scored from the kicker, it's like, well, like Ryan said, that's another phase of the game. I mean, the offense does have to get close enough for the kicker to kick it. So the offense was doing their job, obviously in a way, not in a way that we would necessarily always like, because we'd like to score touchdowns when we get that close. But at the same time, it doesn't make any sense why, the defense is obviously a strong suit, why it would just discredit and put down the other side of the ball. Because, the stat watching of last year was interceptions from Dak, yada, 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 turning the ball over. And then this year he's not. And so it's like all of a sudden he's not doing anything. And it's like, well, the one thing he's not doing is giving the ball back and putting his defense in a vulnerable situation, just like his defense isn't getting shredded and putting the offense in a vulnerable situation. So it's literally like everybody said, it's complementary football. One side of the ball complements the other side of the ball, which complements the other side of the ball. And so I'm just, repeating what all y'all are saying is that it's ridiculous to talk down when things are going good. And so that's just kind of my take on it.
Yeah, and I won't forget when Joy Taylor was a Dak stan. She was a huge Dak guy in Colin Cowherd's show before she got moved to Speak and before she was given the script, if you will. My biggest take from it is, obviously it's ridiculous, but I mean, the score was 38-3 late in the third or whatever. It was far apart for a while, and we shut down the offense for like a quarter. So the expected points, the expected scoring points of that game were a lot higher than what they actually were. And not once this year, and even counting the interception against the Cardinals because the game was over by then, has Dak put the defense in a vulnerable spot. Through 4 weeks, I cannot recall a moment where Dak put the offense in a vulnerable spot. At every drive, they got to drive the length of the field because we at least move the ball against all of our opponents. So, yeah, complimentary football, absolutely. So that was our little Shatter of the Script segment. We'll move into some NFL recap. Starting off hot here with the Saints versus the Bucs in New Orleans. Of course, Baker cooked 26-9. Derek Carr tried to play this game with kind of an AC joint injury. I'm not really sure if that was the smartest decision from the Saints because if you watch the game, he was the check down king. I mean, 14 targets to Kamara, 13 of them were caught for 33 yards. That's the fewest yards on 13 catches in history. So, I mean, you look at it, and Olave didn't have any production. He wasn't really even targeted. Michael Thomas is a scrub now, so whatever. But I really do think the problem with the Saints is Dennis Allen. I don't think he's a good coach. I think people look at that roster and go, dang, that's a good team. And then you go out there and watch him play, and you're like, what the hell is Taysom Hill in there on 3rd and 11 for? Stuff like that. You're like, what is going on here? And, of course, Baker making plays with his legs, man. That dude, he's been mobile. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and that's dangerous for somebody, who made the playoffs with a poverty franchise in the Browns. When he gets the things that he needs, he's a serviceable guy. I would say a step above a bridge guy, I would argue. And then, of course, to close it out before I kind of give it up for open discussion is the Tampa Bay defense is ferocious. They're physical. They're powerful. They got good interior. They got, Levante David can still play with the best of them. I'm enjoying watching this Bucs team kind of be that dark horse, maybe division winner in that division. And before the season started, I was not the most confident person in the world that the Saints would win this division. I did not want to choose somebody else, but I don't believe in Derek Carr. But I want to leave it up for discussion, kind of open discussion here about what we kind of saw with maybe some quick little comments. We can go around the circle here and let the kid. It's so much easier. It's so much easier when we're all in one spot. But the kid, you go ahead and start, and we'll just rotate like we did.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Baker stan on the planet. I might be one of his biggest haters.
Baker.
But credits due. Baker has played way above expectations, especially going into the season. Before the season starts, everybody's looking at, you got the Panthers with Bryce Young, rookie quarterback, Desmond Ridder for the Falcons, and then Baker Mayfield for the Bucs. Then we have Derek Carr in the Saints. And you look at it, the Saints have always in the last couple of years been like that team who's like, they're missing a little something. Maybe it's like quarterback play. They're always kind of a serviceable team. I think it's really goes down to their division. And, they haven't been really efficient on offense. And then Derek Carr gets hurt with an AC joint injury. And next thing you know, he's, like you said, 14 targets for Alvin Kamara. And it's good on it's good for fantasy, but for the most part, it's, the Bucs have been a really surprising team at division. And will it continue? I don't know if Baker's going to do it all year. And, I think it's kind of the hater of me saying that, but I've seen Baker. I know what he is. And I think they need to sit down Derek Carr for maybe a week or two before this might get out of hand or something happens to where he can't play the whole year.
Yeah, Kamara made people want to quit PPR leagues and fantasy. But, yeah, the analyst.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jared literally read my notes. I have Derek Carr as a check down king, and I'm like, that's literally what I put
word for word what I read.
Having Kamara didn't really affect the game. Jared said that too, but I think a lot of this is it speaks to the Bucs, man. I think the Bucs are underrated. I think it shows that the Bucs actually have like a good roster, and I think that speaks to them losing Tom Brady. It does suck, and Tom Brady is good, but like they're still a good football team. Their defense is legit, and Baker Mayfield is kind of playing the best he's ever played. So I feel like he's always that guy that like when he plays, if he's got something to prove, then he plays better. But when he's in comfortable spots, he sucks. So I just think this game, being a divisional game as it was, it goes to show that like their defense is really, really good. And Baker Mayfield played pretty good. But I think with Taysom Hill coming in on like 3rd and 11 and stuff, it's really weird. So I don't know. The Saints don't really like. I don't know how this team wins the division. They have a bunch of really like their offense looks good, but they have like there is no wow to their team. What the heck are y'all laughing at? What's going on?
The noise, man. It scared all of us. We heard like something bang. We were like, "Oh,
a meteor crashed."
I accidentally hit my keyboard, but
and then I just saw everybody trying to hold in their laugh, and it made me laugh. I was like, "What the hell are we doing?"
I know.
You look fine. There's nothing wrong with like nothing. Yeah, you're good.
I know. There's a lot of people in this screen right now who are not big believers on the beautiful thrower of the football, Derek Carr.
Natural thrower.
Natural thrower.
You can throw a beautiful ball right to the defender.
I feel like if he's healthy with that offense, they could do something. Like he's just like two extremes when he plays. It's either you've got I'm throwing the ball deep, we're making plays like what he did with Devontae Adams, or it's like this game where he's like I'm throwing 13 passes to my running back and we can't move the ball. I think some of that was due to shoulder, but like it's been like that for the last 3 games.
Yeah. And I agree with y'all. I think the Bucs are kind of the surprising team, not only out of the division but kind of out of the league right now. I don't think people. I mean, we all remember those videos that came out in preseason of like Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield throwing like 10-yard outs that were missing by like 10 feet each way. And so it kind of just set the bar real low. But they definitely kind of surprised me for one. And the Saints have kind of surprised me a little bit with how, I guess, up to par they weren't playing, right? because they bring in, arguably whoever you want to argue, a franchise-esque type quarterback with Derek Carr. I mean, he did put up pretty decent numbers at the Raiders and whatnot, and he comes in with, Slant Boy, who is finally healthy, and Olave, and then Mr. Kamara, we don't know if he should be playing football or not right now.
Jimmy Graham,
but and 40-year-old NBA Street Jimmy Graham, and I mean, they just have a lot of weapons, and they have had a good defense in the past, and just to see how slow they've started out, it is just disappointing. I think more on the Saints than it is uplifting on the Bucs. I do agree that I feel like the shoulder injury is definitely harnessing a little bit of Derek Carr. I don't agree with the decision to play him when you do have a capable backup as Jameis Winston, even though he is more of a gunslinger. I think with those weapons that they have, you can afford to have that a little bit. And having that injury on that throwing arm, whatever they did to recover, whether, he was pain-free or if they had to shoot him up with some type of numbing agent or anything like that, it would just affect the feel of how to throw the ball. And I mean, I think we can all say, like, you could kind of tell with, you throw 14 passes to a running back for, basically a yard a catch. I mean, that shows that, the offense doesn't trust to move the ball down the field as well as probably the quarterback. So I thought this was kind of an ugly game for the Saints, and then kind of sucked for Jameis Winston because, you get him in there and he slings it down the field when they're already getting their ass beat. And it's like, he throws a pick and it's like, whoa, there's Jameis. It's like, well, it's kind of giving up time by the time he got in.
Yeah. It's quitting time.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next game. The Kid.
Yeah, so we got a recap of the Texans and Steelers. First of all, shout out to CJ Stroud, proving a lot of people wrong and kind of, being the best quarterback they have since Deshaun Watson. One advice I do have is stay away from the massage parlors, probably. Just kind of stay away from that kind of part of Houston. The Steelers lost. Yeah, the Steelers lost Kenny Vermouth and the game. They continue to struggle. Jared, I know that's your guy, Kenny. They got
it's a long season.
They got Matt, Afghanistan as their coach. I mean, Canada. They had a little rough stretch, and like I said, DeMeco Ryans has seemed to found their guy. I think they're all buying into DeMeco Ryans' stock. They love him. The defense is playing hard. CJ Stroud's making some pretty veteran throws already, and he has Woke Boy over there not catching, something towards the sideline, of course, and somehow he's rated 90.2 PFF grade. It must be his blocking, which was non-existent on the Cowboys. CJ Stroud, 16 of 30, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenny Pickett, 15 of 23, 114 yards, 1 interception. And the Steelers had 225 yards total offense. You got Najee, get rid of the stock, move on. Don't have no more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's funny. I think they got the wrong tight end to do the Pfizer commercial. I think they should have done it with Dalton Schultz. In my personal opinion, and he would have loved it. He would have loved it, and it wasn't that he's dating Taylor Swift or anything. He just loves the vaccine. But yeah, I think CJ Stroud clears, dude. I mean, I like what I see from him. He's got a very quick and accurate ball. He's very poised in the pocket with a beat up O line. I don't think they had Tunzel. Kenyon Green's out for the year.
They didn't have anybody.
They're missing four out of the 5.
And he's throwing for 300 against Pittsburgh's defense, which arguably is not a bad defense whatsoever. Very impressive from CJ Stroud. And I like they got weapons for the next 3 years, in my opinion. Mechie, Tank Dell, Nico Collins has finally come into his zone. We finally figured out that it wasn't him, it was the quarterback. So yeah, I like the Texans. I like the Texans.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Texans are another one of those surprise teams. Like, you didn't really know what to expect, but I think this kind of puts a little bit of a knock on the previous coaching staff, right? I mean, they've got very similar weapons on the offense as last year. Obviously, the quarterback seems like a big step up. But I mean, last year their offense was anemic. It was brutal. And then to switch coaching staffs, switch, play callers and all that. And the thing is DeMeco Ryans is a defensive guy. And so like you bring in a defensive head coach and the offense gets better. And so it seems like he's made the right hires, seems like they're making the right plays, and that offense is looking great. And we all knew that defense, was decent and especially competitive at least. And it just seems like he's kind of taking them to a new level. Hopefully their O-line gets better, because when that happens and they can run the ball a little more, they could be pretty scary in that division.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of positives for the Texans. CJ Stroud has been very solid. He has a good ball. I'm pretty sure this is the only Ohio State QB I've ever seen that is worth anything. DeMeco shows he's a good coach. And fun fact, they are the youngest team in the NFL. They have a bright future. They just haven't played anybody credible for me to say they will win this division. And that's all I've got to say about the Texans, because I still don't care about them, and I won't. I refuse to. The Steelers, team of two extremes, really good defense, absolutely zero offense. Kenny Pickett is meh, but I believe that has a lot to do with Matt Afghanistan, or Canada, as the kid said. And then Najee Harris is slower than the night before Christmas. That guy is so slow, I'm pretty sure I could tackle him. He might look strong, but you get his legs, it's over, and he runs like he's in molasses.
Yeah, but Ryan, he has freak stiff arms 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he might catch my helmet, but I'm pretty sure I can catch those slow legs. Runs like a stiff-legged old deer.
Yeah. Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about the Steelers is they had, what was it? They've only had zero 400 total yard games since 2021. The next closest is 4.
Oh my God.
The next closest is 4. They've at least had 4 400-yard games. I mean, he's atrocious, and they want to get him more involved. But, yeah, it's just atrocious to me. But, Ryan, what you got on the Bills and Dolphins?
Yeah, so the Bills-Dolphins, 48-20. I'm going to start with the Bills here. Josh Allen struggled in the first week against the Jets, but these past 3 games, he has shown that he is still him for sure. He's 21 for 25, 320 yards, and 5 touchdowns total. Passer 4, ran for 1. And then stone cold Stephon Diggs, baby. That celebration was everything. He torched the Dolphins defense. He had a slot corner on him all day. What? And just torched that guy. So bottom line, I think this is going to hold on, wrong page.
Because Stone Cold said so. That's what you're going to say. Bottom line.
That's right. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. That's how a white man runs a football.
That's right. Bills took advantage of why they drafted Dalton Kincaid and still have Dawson Knox. They were able to attack the middle of the field pretty good throughout the game, and then they flipped it to Diggs out in the outside in big moments. But I think the story here, while the Bills' offense played really good, is their defense. Sure, they allowed 400 yards of offense, but I mean, that's Miami. Miami's going to move the ball. But this is where it became key. They held Miami to 3 out of 10 on money downs. I'm talking third downs there. And that's just really hard to do against Miami, who's just got done absolutely cooking the Broncos and putting up 70 points. The middle of the field is strong for the Bills. That's kind of where they attacked Miami, which is where you want to be. They forced 2 turnovers and sacked 2 or 4 times. And I think the offense capitalized on that with 3 straight touchdown drives in the first half. So they were able to contain speed and keep pressure on Tua all game. I mean, Hill only had 3 receptions. Waddle only had 4. A-Chain had 101 yards. That was the only bright spot for Miami. A-Chain 47, baby. So they're kind of in the same boat as Dallas now. They just lost Tre'Davious White to a torn Achilles. That sucks. He was a star corner for them. But all in all, for the Bills, they showed up and they still show that they run the AFC East. That's 8 straight against the Dolphins, 12-2 overall in the last 14.
What?
So for going to Miami, story of the day, whole lot of yards, but just couldn't convert, and the penalties and turnovers killed them. 393 yards, like I said earlier, 3 of 10 on third down, and then 0 for 3 on fourth down. So they were able to move the ball a lot. They just couldn't do much with it. And then I think this is more of a story of how they're going to have to figure out how to stop a good offense on defense. And then, two, it can be stopped if you pressure them. It's just really hard to do with all that speed. You know, if you pressure Tua with 4 or 3 guys, then you might be able to stop Miami. But if you're having a blitz or something, they're going to make you pay. So I think Miami's story is, you know, they're going to have to figure out how to stop really good offenses. And then you flip the story over to the Bills. They're showing that they still run the AFC East.
Good luck trying to come up with anything else that you did not say, guys. Good luck.
Sorry. I came prepared. This game wasn't on the TV, but, you know, I had to go in and dig in, look at a bunch of passing charts. So I watched the game through the box score. But, you know, I got to tell you, the Bills, they're a freaking unit, man. They finally got a running back, too. So.
Oh, yeah, James Cook. And you talked about it last week. He was like number 3 rush leader. And the one thing that I'll say is I want Dallas to implement in their offense is the pre-snap motion that Miami and teams like Miami and San Francisco do. Once I'm about to sneeze. I think I got it. I'm good.
Bless you.
But they do this little kind of towards the sideline motion thing to start their route. And that pre-snap motion, I think, is killer, and that's something that we should get involved
That'd be good with
like,
Cooks.
Yeah, Cooks, Turpin, all of them. I mean, So, anyways, I think you covered everything on that game, unless somebody has some other comments.
Yeah, no, good job, Ron.
Josh Allen for MVP.
Yeah, he's putting up the case for sure.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson. No. And to close us out and recap, the medical guy.
Yeah, so I had the Eagles versus the Commanders. This was actually on my TV, so I got to watch it. 34-31 overtime win for the Eagles. My biggest takeaways were Sam Howell looks like a gamer. I know he kind of had a blunder last week and whatnot, but it seemed like he that team got comfortable again. He made a lot of really good plays and just really well-timed plays as well. It seemed like when the moment got big, he got bigger with it and, carried the offense, whether it was with his arms or his legs. I know the stat sheet may not show, 300 plus yards and whatnot, but still threw for 200, had a decent completion percentage and whatnot, and everything like that. And the play to end the game and that throw, so I believe it was Jahan Dotson, was just kind of an all-time like good last-minute drive and play, and got his team, into a battle with the Eagles, who are touted as one of the higher-ranked teams. Second is that Eagles secondary is a little suspect right now. I know they got some injuries and whatnot, but Sam Howell, Dotson, McLaurin, all of them kind of shredded that secondary, and so that was a little suspect. Their up front defense is top tier. They're really great. Get pressure. They stop the run game almost completely from the running back standpoint for the Commanders and whatnot. So that's probably their biggest strength, obviously on defense and whatnot. So if you can figure out a way to just hold that up for a little bit and give your quarterback a little bit of time, you'll look like you'll do pretty well against that defense. Watching Jalen Hurts, I know he's kind of a big point of this game. I thought he had a good game. He still seems to click off. Like there's just something that takes him a little bit to get going. However, it seems in crunch times he goes to his guys, like his Browns, his Devontae Smiths. I mean, AJ Brown had an insane game, and it was just like, hey, the dude can run past everybody, right? And so that's where, with some of those TDs that kept him in the game and got him back into the game, you saw was him running go routes and long routes down the field and whatnot, and making those good throws. And that was another good thing from Jalen Hurts is he hasn't had to play from behind much in his career. And to see him do it against his team and against that Washington front, like it was great as well. And then last, we talked in the Shatter the script at the beginning of the pod and how the host of Speak kind of discredited the special teams, right? That's not part of the offense, blah, blah, blah. Jake Elliott scored 12 of their points, including their winning field goal.
No.
And I believe his field goals were 41, 56, 58, and 31-yard field goals. So that guy was nails. You could say whatever you want if you don't want to count that as an offense because it's Dallas or whatever, but he was a big time gamer for them as well. And then last note on Washington is their front seven is now that Chase Young is back and healthy, they're pretty damn good. I know they sacked Jalen Hurts 3 or 4 times, had tons of pressure and stuff like that. So I think they're kind of a surprise team a little bit with how they've turned out. And that's kind of what I got on that game.
Yeah, and you took my notes on that one as well because I was going to talk about the Eagles secondary and how I don't know if it says more that the Washington receiving core is really good or that the Eagles secondary has a weakness, is the weak spot of that defense. And like Hunter always says, a pass rush can make a secondary look a lot better than they really are. And maybe they're slacking a little bit on their pass rush and that's causing the secondary to struggle. But yeah, I thought Sam Howell was impressive. Yeah. So, any final comments before we move into Sunday Night Football's penalty? Basically, is all we're in.
Eagles, if they just need to stick to their identity, try to get a lead. Run the ball. Try not to force too many passes. Take some deep shots. But once they try to get back to that. I know teams are game planning around it, but try to stick to your identity and then adjust as you go instead of, Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball a lot more than he did last year.
Yeah.
They're in a lot closer games. I know it's a whole new season, but as an Eagles, as the Eagles team, they just need to keep their identity, and that's run the ball, 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts, keep the defense off the field and continue to put points on the board.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add to what hasn't been said is I think, and maybe a hot take, and I know the Cowboys have lost one, but I think this shows weakness. And the reason I say that is they finally opened up the passing game, but I think that if you stack the box and you're able to stop their run game, I think this shows weakness, and they're going into a tough slate these next couple of weeks. And I haven't said it on this podcast yet, but from here on out, you're about to find out who's good and who's not good. And we'll get into that about Dallas and
definitely.
49ers. But for these first 4 weeks, I don't think I've really shown a lot. But these next, couple 4 or 5 weeks for all teams are hard slates. So it's going to start really showing who's good and who's not. But I think this Eagles-Commanders game, them going into overtime, and Ron Rivera being an absolute biatch and not going for it for 2 right there because his defense or his offense was tired. Yeah, go win the game. You're playing the Super Bowl runner-up. Go win the freaking game. I don't care if you're off.
You lost anyway,
Yeah. You want to go play. If your team is tired, then why would you want to go into overtime?
Yeah.
Win the game. Like put money down and win the game. That's ridiculous.
How about one more play, guys? Yeah.
But I on another note, I do think the Commanders are actually not bad. I think they're actually a good football team. I think they'll win more games than people give them credit for. But I think the main story of this is that the front seven for the Eagles is nasty, but the secondary is hurt pretty bad. But I think the Eagles are vulnerable. There is a little kink in that armor, is what I think.
Yeah, CD Lamb's going to expose the hell out of Darius Slay again, and I cannot wait for that. Well, let's get into this Sunday Night Football. Little TRAK, of our member standings. We lost a little bit of track of the medical and analyst because it was a little bit too much to keep a hold of. But the Rook, I'm 3-1 so far, predicting Sunday night football games, and the kid undefeated at 4-0. I lost my last Sunday night football.
Sorry.
I lost the Pittsburgh one, and he was able to jump ahead of me on that one. We both predicted the Chiefs this past coming Sunday night, so those are the standings there. 4-0 for the kid.
If we're being honest, with that Pittsburgh game on at that time, we all lost. Like America lost because we had to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, we said that too. We were like, Hunter said, he was like, we got to watch that on Sunday night. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
We were like, don't worry, America. We'll watch it for you so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like election
Yeah,
night. Don't worry, America.
Yeah,
Twitter will watch
nothing
it so
like-
you don't have to.
Ain't nothing like watching, the last thing you watch before you go to bed on Sunday is watch Jimmy G throw 4 hospital balls to Devontae Adams. Like, I want to watch. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Chiefs obviously got the dub 23-20 against the Jets. Was this a defensive pass interference on Gardner, and was it a holding call on 3rd and 22? The medical guy, I will start with you.
So by the book, yeah, it was a hold on Sauce Gardner. How they were calling the game all night, no shot. And it's just one of those times where it's like you don't really call it all game, and then in one of the most pivotal times that was an absolute bailout call, you called it. And obviously gave the Chiefs a first down and whatnot. So it was really tough, especially seeing as how it looked like the Jets were going to get another stop and whatnot. So that was tough. And then, as we have mentioned right here, I think me and the analyst actually kind of talked about it and watched a little video of the missed holding call where, the left tackle was essentially like holding the guy up in the air while he's trying to rush the passer, and the defensive end is just like, yo, what do I have to do? And so that was really tough for a missed call. And then the last note right here, talking about Zach Wilson. He for 3.5 quarters, he played phenomenal. Like, some of those throws, you were like, yo, this is why you got drafted, my guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think at the same time, I think it seemed like the Jets were like, hey, like, this dude hasn't been very good. We really have nothing to lose right here. Nobody expects us to even be competitive in this game. Let's open the playbook. And if you look back at Zach Wilson's BY Young days, like he made his name from those super crazy throws. Why not allow him to at least try with the weapons you have and whatnot? And then a note that I wanted to make is about the Jets defense. Like, it's still good. Like, they played very well, and showed kind of a little bit of weakness, as they showed with Josh Allen, is if you're going to try to play hero ball and throw it up, they're going to make you pay. And every time, even on the bailout call, Patrick Mahomes threw it up and
triple coverage.
Should have been picked off for whatever his 3rd or 4th time. And I think that shows how well the Jets defense actually is. And if they can get a little bit more complimentary ball on that offensive side, they could still be a really good team. But I think they need to, at this point, they need to let Zach Wilson sling it, because, that's obviously where he's good, is when, he just kind of lets it go. So I'll pass it on to one of y'all for, whoever wants to go next.
Well, you kind of lit a fire within me there, just on like a realization, and I think you hit it on the nail. Was I think the Jets thrive like blood in the water. Like, they're the shark and the blood's in the water. They thrive against gunslinging quarterbacks. Josh Allen and Mahomes both struggle against this defense, and I'm eager to see the Miami Dolphins play them too. That's because you're throwing the D ball on them. You're probably going to get punished because they're DJ Reed, I believe that's his name, Sauce Gardner. those dudes can play good secondary ball. I mean, obviously, Sauce Gardner's ranked number 1 in most people's rankings from what I've seen. And who was the one quarterback that took what the defense gave them and just 31 of 38 did what he had to do? I mean, you got to give props where props are due. I thought, you don't have to throw the ball 40 yards down the field on a great defense. You just got to dice them up one by one. Then they start getting frustrated. They try and make moves. You blitz, you make a mistake, bang, there's your boom play. So, yeah. Hey, Jets defense, don't sleep on him. And Mahomes, this doesn't mean anything for his legacy. He'll be fine.
I mean,
take your time.
I just cannot believe the penalty. Yeah. The holding call on Sauce Gardner. I'm willing to argue that wasn't a holding call because it was close to the line of scrimmage, and by NFL rule, you can from the first 5 yards you can toss, tug, pull on jersey, put your hands in a face mask, like you can do whatever you need to do, and for the most part, and you can get away with it for those first 5 yards. And like Jacob said, they were just the way they were calling the game. There is not a lot of penalties, and the ref didn't throw the flag until the ball was caught.
Yeah,
for the interception, and I just couldn't believe it. Now, for the missed holding call on 3rd and 22, where somehow Patrick Mahomes got 22 yards by his legs, I think that was a hold. The argument that a lot of people were making, which is fair, was the lineman had set feet, hands on him, had him locked down. But the thing was he had him basically bear hugged, where the guy couldn't move. That's a hold. Like, by definition, if you're impeding him from making a play, then yeah, that's a hold. Where if you got to let him go if he's trying to go right or left, unless you can just follow him and make that block. But like, I don't know. That's a lot. And then you already touched on Zach Wilson, but I think Patrick Mahomes got bailed out big time. And the last note on this is please get Taylor Swift off my freaking screen.
Yeah.
Like, this is the NFL. Please just leave it alone. I don't need to see Taylor Swift every single time they're in a primetime game. I mean, the Chiefs are going to be in like every primetime game now.
Kelsey finds a blank space.
They think that Taylor Swift is going to be like the meta to getting all of these other people involved in the NFL. We don't want them here. They can go sit and wonder where Taylor Swift is sitting at a game. And now y'all just created a Canaan event for Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes to come back in here and start making some wild content. So, yeah, get her off.
I want somebody to make a parody account of, like, let's say some random NFL teams, and then they edit a direct cut to Taylor Swift in the booth. Kenny Pickett drops back, flies Allen Robinson back in the back corner of the end zone, and there's Taylor. It just fans straight to Taylor Swift, just like random NFL plays throughout the year. I want to see them cut to Taylor Swift, some parody account. You'd probably get a lot of likes and follower accounts on Twitter. But yeah, Hunter, you want to close us out on this one?
Yeah, all I say is I thought it was a little bit of a hold, but like Jacob said, the game's not being called like that, so why call it then? And then, but another thing I always feel like I hate when it's just in general dictate a game, and just teams can make so many mistakes, or they can do all these good things, and then they blame it on one flag, and we've seen it happen again. And I just hate when the zebras on the field have too much, control of the game in situations like that. So,
yeah, that's definitely the inconsistency.
And also, I will say though, Taylor Swift, that shit is annoying, but that game was the most watched Sunday night game since the Super Bowl, and that's just because girls are like, oh, babe, I want to watch football with you now. Taylor Swift's on the TV.
This is my me time, babe.
It's for the boys. Get that crap out.
Lead me to my Bud Light.
Yeah, Bud Light, babe. And that will do our recap. Now we get to do a little bit of predictions for this week. I got the game of the week: Joe Burrow versus Josh Dobbs. The struggling Joe Burrow takes on the blazing hot Arizona Cardinals. The Bengals are -4 and expect the Bengals to win and attempt to score 500 points. Jamar Chase is always open, 7-Eleven. Expect him to be force-fed like a baby. Joe, you are wide receiver 1 for fantasy this final prediction score, 38-10 Bengals. I think this could be a ass whooping.
That's a heck of a prediction right there.
38-10 final prediction for the Bengals to win. Thank you.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Jamar Chase, 17 targets, 16 catches, 297 yards.
Holy shit, he is always open.
We got another diva on our hands. All right. Well, I've got 2 games. I've got the Eagles and the Rams. Philadelphia -4.5. Who's the winner? It's going to be the Eagles. Eagles will win this game, but I think you should take the points here for the Rams if you're a betting man. I think the Eagles will struggle, but they end up winning. And Matthew Stafford is going to have some trouble with that front 7. But my final prediction for the Eagles-Rams game, Eagles 24. Let's go with the Rams at 21, and that they will not cover the spread. You need to take the Rams 4.5. My next game is Texans-Falcons, currently mid versus mid. Atlanta has that -1.5 favorites. I would take the Texans money line. I am taking the Texans. Impressive showing last week from them in Stroud. I don't think the Falcons can hold them down. And on top of that, Desmond Ridder is bad, is beyond below mid. So it's going to be Bijan Robinson highlight tape, text 2 with Toy Story highlights. So somebody throw that "I'm a boss" on there, and let's.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
They're gonna throw Woody in the trash can like Desmond Ridder in the trash can. Like
Ryan, we going Ridder or Heineke? You had to pick who you pick.
Give me Heineke, dude.
Yeah, XFL stud, baby.
Give me Heineken.
Battlehawk legend.
Yes.
So give me Heineke over Ridder. Ridder is so mid, it's unbelievable. Not my kind of Bearcat. Not my kind of Cincinnati Bearcat. He's not from them boys down south, Sammy State Bearcats, you know what I mean?
Down there in Bauer Stadium.
We're 0-4 right now. So.
Yeah, y'all are trash, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's FCS, right? Come on, we're FBS. It's becoming a bird.
Coach Keeler.
That's more what it's like.
I'll hold my comments back on Coach Keeler.
Who's a bad kitty?
The medical guy.
All right. Well, I've got the Jaguars versus the Bills. The Golden Boy versus the Golden Boy. Hunter's favorite crush, Trevor Lawrence. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So dreamy.
However, Mr. Sunshine, I'm taking the Bills 30-24. Bills 30-24. I think Allen, if he continues to play like he does, not try to force the ball, not try to play hero ball, and go all NFL street on the Jags defense, I think he does well and they continue to dominate. Also, Von Miller gets back. I believe he comes off the PUP list. That's just to add to another upfront specialist on that defense that has seemed to be pretty decent. And I do say the Jags have to play absolutely perfect to win this game. However, I don't think it's going to happen. They've kind of been a little bit off, and I think this is the wrong team to try to get back on track with. I think the Jags are going to try to backdoor cover. But I just don't think it's going to happen. So sorry, Hunter. I got to go against your golden child, the second coming of Christ, Trevor Lawrence, and go with Josh Allen. The old hashtag JUCO boy coming from Wyoming, going with the golden child, Mr. Josh Allen.
Go with the JUCO product. Love that. Down to the Meadowlands with the Raiders. The Ravens versus the Steelers. All right, here we go. If you're a betting man, avoid the spread. This is a rivalry game. It's going to get nasty. It's going to get ghetto. We got Kenny pick, Pfeiffer pick, Pickett, bruised knee.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Kenny Pickett, bruised knee. Not looking too good. He says he's going to play. We got Canada as the offensive coordinator, revamped against this dynamic revamped Lamar Jackson offense. Lamar playing well without his weapons. He's missing shit in his mouth, OBJ, as well as Rashad Bateman. I wrote down here the Ravens cover the spread, but I'm avoiding the spread at all costs. I think this is going to be like some low-scoring affair, field goals each other to death sort of game, 21-16. Ravens.
That's a wild one. Holy moly.
Yeah, I flew off the whim there. I got a little ramped up when I started going.
Yeah. Lasers coming out your eyes.
Ravens. Yeah. Well, now the segment we've all been waiting for. Of course, we got the upcoming Sunday night football game. We got the TRAKing the Boyz segment. Sunday night football coming up. Before we get started, we got to show what Ryan cooks up for us every single week after a Cowboys dub.
Play the video.
Play the video.
Turn that up.
Smoking that Patriots pack, baby.
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Yeah, put your phone down.
You want it on full screen if you're watching this. Tune in. This is some magic work here. There we go. Yeah, smoking that Patriots pack 38-3 W. Let's start with the offense here. We want to talk about, how the offense was with the red zone conversions, whether or not, we thought the running of the passing game was efficient. I want to give the kid the opening mic here to begin on the offense, and we'll work our way around and then transition to the defense.
Yeah, so with the offense this week, they were still efficient, not too efficient in the red zone. Great throw by Dak to Schoonmaker that was dropped. And like I said off script, throws like that, they're tough catches, but those are the type of moments where you watch the game and you see what's really going on doing this box score. Because then, technically that's a drop or incompletion for Dak, but he makes a great throw. If that's CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, that might be a touchdown. The offense, they're still a little struggling in the red zone, but they did use that big old white boy. That's how a white man runs a football in the red zone. So, it's kind of like, I kind of mentioned it too. It's like, the vanilla, it's really vanilla that use him in the red zone, but this guy is like Bluebell. So when you use that, Bluebell vanilla ice cream is always going to smack. It's always going to provide. It's always going to hit. Use that vanilla white boy in the red zone, inside the 5. Michael Gallup, we really shit on that guy a lot last year. But Michael Gallup has really come back to kind of form of, if that was him last year, things might have been different for that Cowboys team. But the thing is, even with the offense struggling in the red zone a little bit, there's still some positives. Dak's being efficient. He's not, trying to be that gunslinger, but he's still taking some shots. He's, given what the defense takes him, especially when you have a defense like that we have right now. That's really the only way to do it. And this next game against the 49ers is really going to be a test of, the defense might not be able to score any touchdowns because Brock Purdy's, top 5 luckiest quarterback of all time. So we'll need the Cowboys offense and, playmaking and offensive coordinator calling the right plays. We just need to get in the end zone because a team like the 49ers, field goals when we're inside the 5 and don't get in the end zone is not going to cut it against this team.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll stick to our offense real fast. I really liked what we did with the Patriots. We kind of had our way with them. Passing game was working really well. Running game was there. They're just very complimentary in offense. That's one thing that I'll say with Zeke being gone. I made the joke to everybody in here that Zeke was going to run for 300 yards on us.
It's a canon event.
Just to dunk it on me so that I would have to not come back on this podcast for the rest of the NFL season.
Yeah,
But,
anyway, Soldier Boy, you suck. 4 carries for 15 yards. Crank that, Soldier bitch.
Yeah. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the offense, but it's the thing that's getting me still the red zone struggles. They did better, like Hunter said, in the red zone, but there's a lot of positives to the Cowboys offense. Mind you, we're only week 4. I mean, there's still teams out there that are struggling with their offenses too. They're in the exact same position as the Cowboys, but just different ways. But the thing that I really like to see is getting Hunter Lepke involved right there at the goal line. Like I said last podcast, I mean, he's a North Dakota State Bison, and all they do is line up in I forms and try and punch you in the mouth. And he is meant to get you those 2 or 3 yards on the red zone. Not sure why they gave it to him in the shotgun. If it was me, I would just put like every heavy body I have right there at the front of the line and then just turn around and give it to Lepke. But yeah, I really liked what I saw from Dak. Very efficient, taking what the defense gave him. And I mean, it resulted, regardless from what Joy Taylor said, it resulted in 24 points against a Patriots defense that's usually pretty dang good. So if you're going to knock on us for that, well, I mean, would you rather us go score 45 and Dak turn the ball over 4 times? Like, stop moving the goalpost. The offense is efficient. They just need to figure out a little bit in the red zone. But, I'll save my defensive comments.
Sweet. Yeah.
One last thing. One last thing.
God.
Tyler Smith is playing like an all-pro offensive lineman. He's playing like a lights-out left guard. That's all I'll say.
That's exactly what Jacob was. No.
Yeah, he interrupted me to talk about a guard. Give me a break.
Oh, come on. That dude's a baller.
Don't you disrespect the O-line.
Yeah, no, I agree with what all of y'all said. I'll take a more optimistic look on it. Is that even though we may be struggling in the red zone, it seems like we're getting to the red zone, 85, 90% of the time. And so, if you fix that last, little percentage of the yardage that we need to get into the end zone, just imagine what some of these scores and some of these headlines would say, right? The only down part about the red zone is I still think it's just absurd to me that we're not using, CeeDee Lamb, who's a playmaker, Michael Gallup, who's a jump ball specialist, in the red zone as much as we are. And I just think it seems like it's like they keep the playbook kind of simple and then they get into the red zone and then just open the whole thing up and just throw a dart at it and be like, yeah, we'll run, this fake jet sweep, shovel pass to whoever. And it's like, guys, just line up in 10 or 11 personnel, run it or throw it. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a full, 7-second rollout flood to one side of the field. Like, hey, we got to slant one way, we got to fade one way, or we just run it up the gut with who we have. So I guess if you want to get kind of ticky-tacky, that's where we could. But ultimately, looking at it from a high-end glass half full type thing, is that we are in the red zone all the time. So that's just kind of my take on the offense.
Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up as well was, Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert, kind of showed a little bit of sparks in this game. And to Hunter's point that he talked about very earlier in the summer, and we both kind of were talking about it in the preseason, was when he gets his reps, he has to make his reps count. And I think yesterday when he was in and he got the ball thrown to him, he made him count. So he looks good. I'm glad he was able to get in there and get some reps. Dak looked like he was on today or the other day, and that ball to Schoonmaker, kind of widened my eyebrows a little bit. That one to CeeDee Lamb got me off my seat. But yeah, I thought the predictability was still the same in this game. If I had to nitpick something out of the offense, was like Jacob said, we're getting to the red zone a high percentage amount of the times. We're traveling the length of the field. We're getting points off of turnovers 100% of the time, unless Aubrey doesn't make a field goal or we go for it on fourth down, which I don't mind going for it on fourth down if we got a lead. If we're trying to make a play, coach, but. I thought that it makes no sense to have Hunter Lepke in the shotgun, hand it off, and then flip it and put Deuce Vaughn in a single back goal line set, and then flip that again and go Hunter Lepke shotgun. It was just like, what are you? Yeah. Are we stupid here?
Let's have Deuce Vaughn in a pass pro. Yeah, that's really gonna work out.
Yeah, the substitutions in the personnel just didn't seem to match what the concept of the play was in about 15 to 10% of the plays. It was very odd to me. But yeah, Vintage Gallup, he looks like he's making a return.
So let's go. Finally healthy this year, and I think that's making a huge difference. He's like we've said him before. He's a wide receiver 3 complement. Like he's really good, and he's shown he's best. Like when Amari Cooper was here in that wide receiver 3 range, which is fine. But I think he's finally healthy, and I think this is the game. But eventually Brandon Cooks is just going to show up. And everybody's going to be like, "Oh my God, I forgot they had Brandon Cooks." But anyway,
yeah.
I think I did one last thing with the offense. I think when people especially on media talk about the Cowboys offense, they kind of word it wrong. It's with the offense itself scoring points. That's not the issue. The issue, I think, how they should word it is how many field goals that the Cowboys are kicking inside 10 yards. Yeah. If they move the ball, they get it inside the 10, they can go 70 yards down the field. You got 10 more yards. And it's it's not like it was just one time or two time. You're starting to see Brandon Aubrey, 5 or 6 already 30-yard field goals. And every time you kick a field goal, whatever marker it's at, you add 18. So if you're at the 20, it's a 38-yard field goal. And so with that being said, I think they're just wording it wrong. And then with the Cowboys defense, they're scoring points, but it's just the scoring or kicking the field goals inside when they're especially inside the 5-yard line. And it's we need to start punching it in. And I just think media is just kind of wording it wrong.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think that's a fair assessment and that's a fair knock on the Cowboys because in the Sunday night's game when they play the 49ers, it is going to be imperative to make that touchdown count because what we've done with these other teams where we get down there and kick a field goal, or we get down there and score, and we do it like that, it's going to be imperative for Dallas to make that opportunity count because they're not going to be in the red zone as much as we've been in games past.
Yeah, and I want to comment on that once we get to the 49ers segment because, I feel like that's a vital part of the game, and I got some notes on it. But we'll transition to the defense here, and then we'll quickly get into Dak on track. But, yeah, I just want to share Micah Parsons. This is the stuff that goes unnoticed. One of the good things about next-gen stats, and I've always been a fan of advanced statistics, is, is stuff like this. He recorded, 0 sacks against the Patriots, but this is, what he had, another game with 8 or 9 pressures. The guy is just ridiculous, and it's a lot like, DeMarcus Lawrence. He's in a top elite run defender, and he shows it every year, but nobody talks about him because he doesn't get sacks. Well, Parsons has had one of the highest pressure rates out of all, and he should, as one of the best players in the league. This is just not going to be talked about. They're going to be talking about, Khalil Mack's 6 sacks, which is absolutely impressive. But I wanted to share that with everybody, and because we passed it around in our group chat. But to counter off of that, Parsons' pressure rate was finally, to Ryan's point, we got John Way and Marquise Bell back into the lineup as rovers to roll down and play in the run game, and it worked. I think they had 40 total yards rushing for the game, somewhere around that. Just a completely effective, kind of a hybrid nickel kind of defensive platform to build your defense off of, especially after losing Overshown, who was going to be so exciting to watch in this defense, dude. Marquise Bell and Yonway Thomas have definitely earned their paycheck. So solid performance there. I didn't see any gaps in the secondary. But medical guy, we'll go to you, and then we'll rotate to Ryan, and then finish out with Hunter. Your thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, I thought the defense yet again looked pretty dominating. It was cool to see Deron Bland kind of bounce back with this game, as well as Stephon Gilmore. Definitely thought the linebackers played a lot better this game as well. And, up front, I mean, that's always going to be the highlight of that defense is all the DNs, D tackles and whatnot, rushing the passer, clogging up run gaps and schemes and stuff like that, and kind of taking some of that pressure off the secondary, but also allowing for the secondary to be aggressive, right? Because if you know that, Michael Parsons is getting there 50% of the time, and God knows the percentage of all the other people there as well, they're trying to get the ball out quick. They've got to make first read decisions or second read decisions. And so it allows, the defensive back strengths to then come to light, is them being aggressive, playing close on routes, jumping routes and stuff like that, as we saw with Deron Bland, who literally, they play up close on the line and are able to then, have more educated guesses on like, hey, the ball's coming out quick here, I can take a risk and whatnot. So I think all in all, I mean, the Cowboys defense did what they did in 3 of the last 4 games. So it's definitely exciting to see.
Yep. And Ryan?
Yeah, so I'll keep it short and sweet here. That was a statement game from the Cowboys defense. Last week they got shredded the week 3 they got shredded by the Cardinals, and everybody kind of doubted it. They're like, "Oh, see, y'all aren't the real deal," and I think that pissed them off, and it pissed them off really good. Because they came out and they dominated. The front 7 dominated. Jared already showed Michael Parsons' stats. I mean, he's tearing them up. He only had 2 tackles, but it really shows that, like, sacks aren't the only thing that a defensive end can do. Like, he was pressuring Mac Jones. I think he had 9 pressures, and, I mean, he tore him up. And the best thing about that, too, was that, like was already said, our linebackers really did a good job of containing and being there, and they didn't do it in the Cardinals game, and that was a very big problem, and that was a very big concern for me going into like this 49ers game. It's like, we're going to need our linebackers when we play CMC. So I was really impressed with Deron Bland. He came back and he showed that he could still play very well. There's a lot of statistics out there that shows that he can create turnovers and that he belongs, and I think what really helped him was that he finally got a full week of practice of actually playing outside, and he shut him down. Now, I mean, the receivers for Patriots aren't anything special, but like, he showed that he belongs, and I'm really impressed with this Cowboys defense. Still, they're still one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they came out and they wanted to prove to everybody, like, hey, look, we're still here, we're pissed off, and now it's on to the 49ers.
Yeah, so like we always talk about, the defense is super fun to watch. They're creating turnovers, or getting to the back. And speaking to that Michael Parsons chart, he's already forced 2 interceptions just by rushing the passer, making him roll out of the pocket, and he almost had another one against the Patriots. Jaron Curse just dropped it. It was right in the basket. And just Michael Parsons, even though he's not getting sacks, he's still getting a quarterback in creating more of these turnovers. So if even though the DB is, getting these interceptions, if it wasn't for Michael Parsons forcing a non-mobile or even sort of mobile kind of quarterback out the pocket, then it wouldn't even happen. And with the defense, they're just flying around. Deron Bland, we saw it last year. He's, ball hawk, not Trey Diggs, but he has those kind of same traits of, you kind of float one out he's probably going to go get it. And, we're going to miss Trayvon Diggs. And that was a big statement game. Plus defense.
Yeah.
Y'all hit all
Agreed.
Y'all know. So we're going to transition into the Dak Seipel part of this segment. It's called Dak on Track. We look at a passing chart of Dak, and then we all do our letter grades. 28 of 34, 261 yards, touchdown. A lot of more down the field than we saw against the Cardinals and the Jets. Dak was efficient once again. When he's in that, 70 and up completion percentage, around 240 to 260, touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the kind of Dak that we're good to seeing with a great game manager. For this performance, I'm gonna give him A-. Will probably be the only time I'll give him an A. No, I'm just kidding. But
I was gonna say
that's pure hate. That's pure hate. No, that's got to be racist.
He only had that one touchdown, but like I said, he threw CeeDee Lamb that beautiful fade ball. CeeDee Lamb almost made a spectacular catch on it, and thing with Schoonmaker. Thing about it is those are the kind of throws that Dak needs to make, even though if they don't end up as a touchdown, it could end up as an incompletion, interception, tip defender or tip ball off the wide receiver's hands. But those are throws that you don't see on the box score. And Dak continues to be efficient and just give the defense or take what the defense is giving him. And once the Cowboys figure out that, red zone inside the 7-yard line to where instead of getting 3 points, we're going to get more with the touchdown, the Cowboys will be very, very, very dangerous for games to come.
Agreed. Yeah. The Analyst. Oh, actually, I'll go. Yeah. You hit it on the nails. What impressed me about Dak and when I think he's in his best rhythm is when he's hitting those intermediate sideline throws, those ones that are 10, 15 yards down the field, on time, in rhythm. Converting third downs was huge. He's been good at it, great at it, exceptional at it all year this year. I've been very impressed with his accuracy. I'm really not looking for him to blow up the stat sheet. I'm really just looking for efficient football, and we always agree that we want, most importantly, a Cowboys win. Just a Cowboys Super Bowl with Dak would just be a little bit sweeter. So 28 of 34, 261, a touchdown, still no turnovers. The cool thing about this is that Dak only has 1 interception. The rest of the NFC East combines for 14. So I'm going to give Dak an A- as well. I thought about giving him an A, but I'm going to go with A- because I think we can convert better in the red zone. The Analyst?
Yeah, I look at this chart and I just see efficiency everywhere, and that's what I love to see from Dak, and I think that's the kind of quarterback he is. The passing chart shows a lot of a couple behind the line of scrimmage, but like Jared said, I think it just shows when he's at his best, it's him hitting the sidelines 10 and under, and that's what opened up the CeeDee Lamb go ball on the left side over 20 yards, which was an absolutely beautiful throw. Same with the Jake Ferguson throw the Schoonmaker throw that I have no clue why Jake Ferguson wasn't in the game for that. I guess we had to get our second-round bum tight end a throw. But he's
going to work.
To give him a grade, I'm only going to give him a B+, just because I want to see more out of this entire team out of the red zone, and I want to see him use his legs. But I feel like that call is coming from the house that he's not allowed to run because of what happened to him in 2020, which is just ridiculous because there's so many times where we hand the ball off and everybody on the edge is just shooting for the ball or the running back, and all Dak has to do is pull it, and he could bear crawl into the end zone. But anyway, I'll only give him a B+, just because I want to see our team do a lot more in the red zone than what we've shown, and it's been efficient, like we've said. But I want to see touchdowns. So great game from Dak. He continues to just be completely efficient for this football team.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of agree with Ryan there. I wasn't going to give him an A. I was going to give him a B, B plus. I thought obviously like he's been every game this year. He's been very efficient, making the right throws, the right decisions outside of one. And just ultimately, I agree. I would like to see more touchdowns. I would still like to see more down the field throwing a little bit. I think, like we talked about earlier, I think Brandon Cooks, I think it's still gonna come, and it's probably gonna be this game. But I kind of agree with what Ryan's been saying this whole time. Is I still don't even know if we've gotten into play 2 of this playbook because honestly, we haven't had to. So that's kind of my grade on him. The one thing that I'll say that I really, really loved during this game is and not saying that I like that he got injured, but when Christian Gonzalez came out, right, they put a rookie drafted brand new cornerback over CeeDee Lamb on that side, and Dak said, "Screw it, CeeDee, you're getting the ball," and he made a perfect throw on a perfect route for a touchdown. And so I kind of like that killer instinct and just Dak and CeeDee lining up, being like, "Hey, we're better than you," and making that play. And so I really like seeing that. And overall, I think B plus is a fine grade for Dak right there. So
and
shatter the script right now.
I'll say
with the highest grade
how the TRAK
He-Man Woman Hater Club.
Did I just have
He-Man Woman Hater Dak Club
a top grade for Dak on this pod, bro? It's crazy to me. I give him.
You want to change your grade?
Is it getting hot or super cold in here? Is it freezing over?
You know what?
This is horrible for your agenda.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Give me a D minus.
Where's Trey Lance?
He needs to throw more yards.
Yeah, where's Trey Lance?
Yeah. Where's Cooper Rush, man? I need a white guy back there. Come on, bro.
You sound like the 50-year-old Cowboys fans that are like, this won't ever believe, like they all hated Quincy Carter for one known reason. The reason that they don't think Dak has it, and the reason that they don't like Patrick Mahomes. We all know why. Because they're a little bit on the radar.
Don't think he can play good football. I mean,
he's just an undisciplined player.
He's just not as good as Troy. Troy was a leader.
At least Romo dated.
Troy had 17 Hall of Famers on his team too. So so there's that. But yeah.
And one of the best coaches of all time, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
Back in if a quarterback, first of all, if he was a quarterback, he wouldn't even be in the game. But if he's in the game, if he started, they call a flag real quick because that shit was unheard of. I don't know about that. Back in my day, Johnny Unitas, he was the greatest quarterback I ever seen in my two great own eyes.
Yeah, Cy Young was it's like, oh come on, dude, we've evolved.
Oh yeah, good Lord, man. Well, on to predictions for the Cowboys versus 49ers. And, obviously this is the segment we've all been, waiting to get to. And if you're, you listen to this podcast, this is what we kind of been escaping from, is predicting games. So we finally get a little taste of predicting some games today with the most important game on our schedule. So it's only right to start this off with some post-game press conference action with Dak Prescott.
Dak, what was the feel leaving that locker room last January?
No, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, we're so far past that, to be honest with you, but that's obvious. I mean, you just want to piss me off.
So
going,
handsome.
appreciate that. I do, actually. I do. Yeah, appreciate that.
There's the second part of that clip where he's like, I know we all came in here, but then he stopped himself and started laughing. I'm like, y'all are getting like Canaan event Dak this next game. He's putting on the hood. It's revenge of the Sith time. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know about you guys. I've never seen a pissed off Dak in a press conference. I've never. So something's changing. I think he, and like you just said, revenge of the Sith. You could see those blue eyes turn yellow real quick, and you seeing this kind of the Sith side of Dak come out in the post-game press conference, and I like it. It's kind of like, and you see in some people's lives that I know personally, it's just selfless acts over and over and over again, and they just keep demanding that you continue to be selfish. And then when is it time to get yours? When is it time to defend your own name and stuff like that? So it's like here, I like it. He's been so humble for his entire career. He has taken so much hate, and then he just constantly reminded of his failures. And then he goes in there and says, way past that. I'm pissed off. We got a game to play this Sunday. And if he loses, he loses. But, I'm looking forward to a good game from Dak Prescott. But I want to let the kid start this one off. And you can kind of tell us how he thinks are keys to success to winning this game on. Maybe some thoughts in the post-game press conference. I know you haven't got a chance to comment on those as well. But I want to let you kickstart this one because I feel like you're going to hit it right on the nail, brother.
I got a little song of what I think needs to happen. Cowboys versus Niners. 2 NFC best going head-to-head, and the offense is going to have to be better than ever. The defense can't score touchdowns every single game, but they can make stops and put the offense in good field position. If Dallas does not score in the red zone, they will not win. CeeDee Lamb needs to be involved heavily, while the defense needs to wrap up on all the time, all their playmakers, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, C-Mac. I will say this. CeeDee Lamb, you are wide receiver behind Jamar this week. And if Dallas in the red zone, they will win. This has a capability of being a shootout. Final score, 27-24 Dallas, rolling with the boys this week's. Hoorah!
Don't tempt me, brother. Don't tempt me. I'll let medical guy. I want to let you go. Let's switch it up.
5-0. I'm going 5-0. I do not give a.
Yeah. There we go. I love the confidence. Yeah. So to touch on that post game presser, that is the most bitch. If you don't shut up, face I've ever seen from Dak Prescott. If you don't shut your bitch ass up, I'm gonna come in and
shot it, bro.
Yeah, dude, it was great. But my prediction for the game, I actually think it's gonna be a 28-17 Cowboys victory. I think there's gonna be it's gonna be a big time struggle for Purdy because I think it's gonna be more pressure than he's seen all year, not only with the game but with the defensive front. I don't think CMC necessarily gets shut down, but I don't think he's going to have a 4 touchdown game like he's had essentially all season. And I think this is a big statement game for Dak and the Cowboys. And then my final takeaway on this, and it's kind of what I've talked about with, don't get stat watching, don't do this, don't do this. It doesn't matter how you win this game, just win. And so I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway. And that's my prediction for the Cowboys 49ers game.
He won't. You're right. He won't have 4 touchdowns. He will have 5.
But if that happens, then I might have to take a break from the podcast for a few weeks.
It's going to be like that Shane Gillis meme that's been going around. No!
Yeah, exactly. You might not hear from me until next Sunday.
And stepping in at quarterback for the Cowboys is Joe Curley. He's a 47 alcoholic.
Oh, well, I guess I'll go. I've gone back and forth about this game so many times. I've been ready for it, and I've been saying for since the beginning of the season, even before the season started, that this game is going to determine a lot. And it's exactly what I was saying earlier. It's like everybody's talking about how the Cowboys haven't played anybody, the 49ers haven't played anybody, and the Eagles haven't played anybody. This is going to be from here on out. This is a sure sign teller on if Cowboys should be, or like Cowboys fans should be like, oh yeah, we're there, or it's going to tell you, we got shit we're going to have to work on. So, bottom line, I think this is going to be an extremely close game. The Niners opened up as 2.5-point favorites over Dallas, which I think is a fair line. But this game is going to come down pressuring QBs on both sides. I think the way that the Niners stop Dak is they get in his face and they get to him fast. And I'm nervous. Like if Tyron Smith isn't going to play, they're saying he's iffy. But it sounds like we're going to have the 4 out of the other 5. So we're going to have, Steele finally are still there, Zach Martin back, Biotish, and Tyler Smith, who's played really well. And he actually worked really well with Adupe, or however you say his name, Chimo Adupe. Is that?
Yeah. Chuma.
So, Chuma. Yeah. So
Shawarma.
They looked really good last week against the Patriots and stopped Judon well. So I would just like to have Tyron Smith back, because when he's been on the field this year, he's been an absolute Terminator. But, going back to my prediction on the game is I'm very skeptical, and I want to be proven wrong. So my heart tells me that Dallas wins, but my gut tells me that this game is going to end 24-21 49ers. That is my
Boo
gut.
this man.
And I will tell you this now. I'm saying that because I want to be proven wrong. I want to sit there and be like, we just beat the 49ers, but my gut is telling me the Cowboys go out and lose this game.
This is
but my is all in. I'm going against everybody on this podcast because I want to be proven wrong, and I want the Cowboys to go out there and bust them in the mouth. I just want them to kick that. I just want them to kick CMC off the field. I just want them to kill him. So that's my prediction. But my heart is forever Dallas faithful.
That's a perfect one to follow up on.
Get the mic away from me.
How is that pause related? I'm talking about you're hitting him in the mouth. This is football.
It's all right.
Get your head out of the gutter.
This is the first one. This is a great one to follow up on, because Hunter knows this very well. I have this ability to do certain things when I say things about certain events, and the things that precede them go the opposite way that I say that they're going to go. I'm trying not to say the word.
Who are you? Are you Acho off of the speak right now?
Imagine playing Madden. Imagine playing Madden, and I say something, and then the bad thing happens. So let's just put that word. I'm not going to say the word because I don't want to. Anyway, I got so with this game being the way it is, if Dallas is going to win this game, they're going to have to convert in the red zone. They're going to have to convert in the touches, because I tell you who damn sure is the 49ers. They're most likely going to convert the majority of their red zone trips into touchdowns. And if my defensive strategy going into this game is, and I'm sure the 49ers watched a lot of film on it last year, was I'm spying CMC the exact same way I did in the 2022 divisional round. Minimize the threat. And then if I'm the Cowboys offense, I'm attacking the secondary. And I think the pass rush is going to be quite effective. We got Bosa, you got all those other guys on the inside. The linebacker is going to be great coast to coast. The major factor in this game, and this is going to sound crazy for, certain years, Ferguson. Ferguson has to be a threat to create deep ball opportunities, and the big plays win this game. Whoever makes the most big plays win this game. And the great positive thing about the Cowboys is they're winning with all 3 phases of the game. However, my gut does not tell me. It tells me the same as what Ryan's does, and I guess that's why we are brothers. But I've got the 49ers slightly ahead in a shootout. I've got them 38-34 49ers. And I think it's a good measuring stick for the rest of the season. And I think Dallas comes out just guns blazing. And I think it's a lot like that Buccaneers game in 2021. Like, damn, everybody on both sides of this team played their guts out. The 49ers got the best of us. That's all I'll say. Just remember what I said earlier. Just remember what I said earlier. My heart wants something else. My gut says the other. We'll see. But let's transition into our 2-minute drill. Obviously, we got the medical guy and the analyst. Medical guy handling the injuries and medical analysis, obviously, and the analyst statistical analysis. So I'll let you two pick between the two of you. Who wants to run this mug first in the 2-minute drill?
I'll go ahead. So we'll start off with the 2-minute drill. Okay. So medical guy, going over their injury analysis. Okay, I'll keep it quick. A lot of these are stuff we've kind of mentioned throughout. But first, we have Kyler Murray. ACL is still considered weeks from playing. Was projected to play starting week 5, looking like weeks. Okay, 2 big injury questions for the Bills: Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White. Poyer is listed as questionable, but Tre'Davious White, torn Achilles, he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Another interesting one for you fantasy people, especially the Rook. Okay. T. Higgins has broken ribs, right? It's saying he could play against the Cardinals, but honestly, against the Cardinals, I necessarily wouldn't count on it. These are injuries that can get worse, and if he does get hit the wrong way or gets hit too hard, could look at injuring some type of vital organs. For the Dallas Cowboys, we got Tyron Smith with an iffy knee. Don't necessarily know if that's the correct medical terminology for what's wrong with him, but they have listed him with an iffy knee. So take that as what you will. Javonte Smith Williams. He's got a hip flexor injury. He's running back for the Broncos. So if you have him on your fantasy team, check him out. Go get some Ajay Piran or whatever McLaurin that had, or McCaughlin that had like 18 points sitting on the waiver wire. Next is the Texans O-line. They're all hurt. And so it kind of just shows how good CJ Stroud's been and shows that you probably don't need to worry about it too much with how well he's been playing. For the Chargers, we got Austin Eckler, who's considered out still, and Joey Bosa, who's considered out as well. So keep an eye on those. One kind of interesting injury is Justin Herbert had a broken finger on his non-throwing hand, actually got it splinted and taped up during the game against the Chargers. I think that's pretty cool, but pretty grit way of looking at that quarterback. Next, these two happened in the Dallas Cowboys game, but Christian Gonzalez is suspected to have a torn labrum in his shoulder. Sometimes you can play through those depending on how pain tolerance is. The pain's too bad, and if the shoulder keeps subluxing, which means it moves in and out of socket, or if it full on dislocates, that would mean more towards like end of the season type stuff. Next is Matthew Judon for the Patriots. He suffered a torn bicep tendon. I know he's come out and said that he's going to come back and play. Not likely at all. And so those are kind of my wrap up of the injuries this week. The little niche that I'm going to go with, and we're going to try to keep going, even if I'm on the pod or not on the pod, is what's called the DB list, the down bad list. And so it went 3 weeks in a row of hosts on the podcast or people on the podcast ended up being sick. Currently, I've been removed from the DB list. COVID didn't get me down. I'm back. Don't care what symptoms you threw to me. I'm not getting another jab. It's not going to happen. Okay, I'm off the DB list. However, the person that's going on the DB list, and Jared, you need to thank me because I was going to put the Texas Rangers and their fans on the DB list, but they won today and they looked really good.
Yes, sir.
But they were being some absolute bitches about not winning the AL West.
Yeah,
and it's just absurd.
not
going to put them on here. They were runner-up, honorable mention DB list, if you may. But we talked about this guy in the beginning of the podcast, and this guy needs to be on the DB list for the foreseeable future because this was the most just ass backwards way of thinking, sissified, just triggering way of thinking is Riverboat Ron Rivera. Brother, you came out and said after your team just ran down the field on one of the best teams in the league, right? Tied it up or brought it within 1 point. Okay, with a damn near last pick in the draft, Sam Howell or whatever he is, the great value Baker Mayfield, if you may, just drives down the field with all of this offense right here, and you get there a chance to win the game. You got nothing to lose, right? You got nothing to lose. Nobody expects you to be anything this year, and you've got a chance to win the game. And instead of being like, oh, we thought we could take them in overtime, oh, we thought we had to jump on them when we got the ball back, yada yada. Our offense was moving the ball, anything else. But you said your offense looked tired. Brother, one way to keep them from not being tired anymore is win or lose a game, and then they got a whole damn week off. and you decide to go out there and lose pathetically in overtime. No offense to anybody's character out there, but I just thought that was just an atrocious call, and I thought it was an even more atrocious excuse to use of why you didn't go for two, because all of us have played sports, and I know y'all played more football than I did, obviously, but whenever your coach was like, yeah, guys, let's go for two, I'm pretty sure that got everybody riled up like, hell yeah, let's go for two. Like, we're better than this team. Let's go for the win. Let's cut the throat. And he said his team was too tired. If I was his team, I'd be like, it would be that Dak Prescott look at our coach after that. Be like,
yeah,
what? So sorry for rambling on a little bit, but that kind of got under my skin. And he needs to be on the DB list for foreseeable future. Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron. Take the Riverboat away. It's just Ronald now. And you're on the DB list.
Yeah, and it's a real quick comment on that too. I think somebody needs to make a meme of there's the commander in chief, and it just needs to say the commanders in chief with the war pig penetrating Ron Rivera from behind. And
my God.
It would be a great meme. But Ryan, go ahead with your 2-minute drill.
All right, 2-minute drill. You know who I am, the analyst, stats and analytics. So a lot of big games this last week, and here we go. We're going to start with Justin Hero Ball Herbert. Stat line wasn't big, only had 167 yards, but he had a broken finger. Absolute money ball on 3rd and 10 from his own end zone. This team is still do or die offensively. Their defense is trash. Next, we've got, I'm going to coin Jacobs from earlier, Josh Golden Boy Allen. Said earlier, this guy clears 320 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's just a straight up dog, but it's like a button masher on Madden. He clicks too many buttons. He gets a little bit out of control, could cause an issue. And then we've got greased up arm, WD-40, that elbow, Stafford and Puka, the Himalayan. What can I say except you're welcome. 319 yards and a touchdown from Stafford. They gave up a 23-point lead, but they came back and finished it in overtime. Puka, 160 yards in the game-winning catch. Stafford is the king of making wide receiver ones. Just give him a guy at this point. He's going to let him dive down the field. And then we've got C.J. Stroud boy. Shocking runs in the league. Another solid game.
Strouder with Crowder.
Yeah, exactly. Broke the record for most attempts without an INT. That's crazy. That was actually owned by Dak when he was a rookie. 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. Great game from Stroud boy. Next up, we've got Khalil Oldman Mack. He's still got it. 6 sacks. Strong outing from the old man. Really helped the Chargers to a dub. That defense still stinks. Next, we've got Micah Lion Parsons. 9 pressures. Was over the field all game. Really excited to see what he brings to the San Francisco game. I hope he eats. And then last but not least, my favorite part of the day, always.
Oh, bring it on.
Wilson passing chart. As we all know, he can't throw. So let me get that thing up for you. Can everybody see my screen?
Give us 1 second. It's loading. There it is.
Here it is. All right. So for the first time in my life, he hit the middle of the field and efficiently. Can you believe that? Very, very uncommon. He didn't throw for any yards. He was efficient. Let me pull up those stats for you real fast. Very efficient on the field, but he threw for like 228 yards, 223. Russell Wilson, 21 for 28, 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. Lucky for him, Justin Fields and the Bears suck, so they gave him this game. So you can say Russell Wilson was cooking, but I mean, if you look at this passing chart, nothing really special. You had 5 completions in the middle of the field. That's the first time I've seen this in 4 years. He's basically a Walmart Dak Prescott where he can throw, but he's not throwing deep. So there you go. That's the 2-minute drill for the statistics of the week. CMC, I would see MVP front runners going into this. CMC, Josh Allen, and yeah, that's really your 2 front runners. And I would even put Justin Jefferson up there. He's killing it. So those are your 3 MVP guys. There's not really any quarterbacks out there other than Josh Allen. They're playing lights out. Maybe Tua, but yeah. So way too early to tell rankings of MVP.
Tua none.
Golf claps.
To a wall now.
Yeah, there you go.
You're up.
Oh my God, I missed one. Oh my gosh. Jalen, look at me. I can throw Hurts. 319 yards and 2 touchdowns. He got in a shootout and he made a throw. I'm just not convinced that it's going to last. So Jalen really was trying to let everybody know that he can throw a football this weekend.
Right. Moving on. Excellent 2-minute drill, boys.
You're welcome.
Going to the kids' picks of the week, do a little recap from last week. If you took what I said, I was 3 for 3 with Bijan over rushing yards, C-Mac over rushing yards, and Laporta over receiving yards.
Hey, you want to hit a green bean real quick?
Green bean. So we got 2 picks from the Thursday night slate, and you Price Pick always pocket watching, already bumping shit up when they don't need to. We got Terry McLaurin over 60.5 yards. They're going against the Bears. The Bears are dog shit. Sorry, Bears, but expect him to probably catch a 70-yard touchdown and not look back. DJ Moore, I found his prop, 48.5 yards receiving. And I was like, oh, that's money. No, they bumped it up to 50.5. So sorry, guys, we're a little late. But 50.5 yards receiving for DJ Moore. To show you that it's going to hit. That's the reason why they bumped it up. And this one seems like cake. Brian mentioned this guy earlier on the Bills. James Cook, over 50.5 yards versus Jacksonville. I just feel like that's money. I can see him having 15 carries for 75 yards, 5 yards to carry easily against the Jacksonville defense, who is also horrendous. And let's try to go for another 3 for 3 and another green bean. Sorry. And that's the kids' picks for the week.
I love that, bro. Sitting in the living room, green bean.
Free money right there.
Free money right there. Go to the general and save some time. Yeah. All right. Well, a little recap of week 4. I had start. If you listened to me last week, well, let's just say you got the death penalty. Raheem Mostert, 45 fantasy points in week 3, followed by a crappy 5.5 PPR performance, 7 attempts, 9 yards, and a fumble lost. You are terrible. The second one, I told you to start Tank Dell. The snap percentage was there. 3.9 PPR points, 1 reception, 16 yards, blowout. Don't bail on Tank Dell. He'll be fine, I think. Sit him. Garrett Wilson. 15 points, 14 targets, 9 receptions, 60 yards. Zach Wilson decided to ball out. Who saw this one coming except, the Swifties? Until they trade for a quarterback, I still think he's kind of a middle-of-the-pack wide receiver too. So my fault there, guys. And the one that I got correct, and this just kind of made a lot of sense, was James Conner. Like I said last week, they've had their fun. They went against the 49ers run defense, 6.6 PPR points, 11 attempts, 52 yards with a reception for 4 yards. My sleeper of the week, though, however, some might not view him as such. Some may have gotten nervous, but I said high risk, high reward. And boy, did he deliver in high reward. Devon A-Chain 47, Miami running back, 27 PPR points, 8 attempts, 101 yards. Bless you. 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 19 yards. I think somebody sneezed. This week, start Nico Collins. Nico, Chico, Binko Collins, Cinco Collins. Start him. Number 7 in PPR wide receiver. Intermediate, deep threat, high volume. 6 weeks of good matchups coming up. Start Nico Collins. And if you're looking for a wide receiver, trade for him. Some people might not view him as high as others. Start AR-15, Anthony Richardson. the Indianapolis quarterback. He is the 2023 Justin Fields. Or with the previous, he's the 2022 Justin Fields. He has a rush touchdown in every game that he has started. He is looking like a guaranteed starter for fantasy football. Sit, Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't put yourself through it any longer. Quit putting yourself through this shit any longer. Just quit it. Bench him. Miniature usage, no goal line work. He's this year's DeAndre Swift. And then sit Joe Burrow. Terrible so far. He's the highest paid quarterback, and he's the highest donkey shit quarterback right now. No T. Higgins, probably. There's a disconnect with Jamar Chase, 7-11. Just not really confident in it. You probably have a backup that's going to put up 14 or 15 points, which Joe Burrow can't do ever. Sleeper of the week. This is a guy that if you have players on this team, you're a little nervous, but I think this is the first week all their pieces are put together. Christian Watson, Green Bay wide receiver, I think is going to be a must start this week. He was on a snap count last week, and he still caught a touchdown. It's time. Love needs his wide receiver one. He's not going to be on a snap count. And, of course, this is my new niche. And I just want you guys to enjoy the ride here. This is your heave of the week. And we move ourselves down to California, where we find ourselves in the Chargers. All right, 24-17 here. Brandon Staley is trying his best to screw up this game for the entire state of California. 3rd and 10. 1 out of 6 on third downs, as you can see. 2-minute warning. They're about to let Aiden McDonald cook. I'll give you guys a little play-by-play. All right, here we go. Doubles left side of the bottom of your screen. Herbert drops back and pass. Shoves in the pocket. Down the sideline to Josh Palmer. That is your heave of the week. Little pointy, chargy. Bro, heave of the week goes
I was
to
not
Justin
expecting that shit.
Herbert. Justin Herbert with the heave of the week.
I was not expecting fucking Troy Aikman to start doing heave of the week, bro. That caught me off guard.
Bro, I lost a little saliva there on that heave, bro. I was like,
Oh.
well, let's move into more power rankings right quick. Hunter, I'll let you go first, and I'll finish this off. Pause.
All right, I'll make it quick. Number 1, the Raiders. Putting them at number 1 because they have the best quarter in the league. Number 2, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills because they have the MVP, Josh Allen, Josh Peck, don't matter, 5. The 49ers, like we said last week, they're going to be at number 3. Like I said, Brock Purdy, Brock Lesnar, Brock Bowers, doesn't matter. He's the luckiest quarterback. You can throw anybody in that system. Number 4, I'm going with the USC Trojans. Big win this week against the Colorado Buffaloes. Caleb Williams is going to be a great stud in this NFL. Number 5, I'm going with the Legacy Lions. They won a big game against Brazos Christian, 42-28 for homecoming. Shout out to the Legacy Lions. Number 6, they took a little creep on my list. They were number 1 last week. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals. Even though they lost against the 49ers, obviously the 49ers are the better team. That's why they're at number 3. Arizona Cardinals are still blazing hot, like I said, but they are getting their ass whooped this week. Number 7, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak for life, DC4L, Dak attack, Cowboys in 3. Number 8, I'm going with Tua, turn the ball over. They lost to the number 2, the reigning MVP of Josh Allen. He's looking like a front runner, but they got Devin A-Chain 47. Shout out to them. Number 9, I'm going with the Eagles. Luckily, they're going against Boat Rivera, or whatever you guys like to call him, to where they didn't want to win the game. So shout out to that. And at number 10, I'm the fighting Texas A&M football team. Whoop! And that's going to do it for my power rankings of the top 10 teams in the NFL right now. Thank you.
You got to do that more often. You got to do that quick talking thing more often. That shit's funny.
Yeah.
Brian,
All right, mine are a little bit more serious. They're actually NFL teams. Shout out to the Legacy Lions and the A&M Aggies. Really marching. So I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. These are the guys that didn't make the cut. In this group, I've got the Jags, the Commanders, and then the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers. So at number 10, I have the Seahawks after what they just did to the Giants that we're going to now pin as a bad team. They looked really good. Geno Smith did not write back, even though they gave him a little dirty hit there in like the first half, and he was talking crap all game. And Aikman didn't like it. He played the old man mentality of like, just play football. So, yeah. Number 9, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Their injury list, it seems like it's exponential, and every year it gets longer and longer. And then number 8, I have Chef Baker Mayfield and his squad of buffoons. They're looking pretty good right now. Their defense is legit. At number 7, I have the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, the new Matt Stafford, and Jahmyr Gibbs, who does not play. And then a coach that says, I don't care if you have, one ass cheek, we're kicking your ass. And then I have at number 6, or 2 toes and 1 ass cheek, we're kicking your ass. That's actually the direct quote. The
lover of kneecaps.
Yeah, that's right. And we should ask if he could actually fight a gorilla and win. So at number 6, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm still not convinced that this team is what everybody thinks they are. They've surely regressed. And Jalen Hurts is just trying to continue to prove that he can throw the football. At number 5, we have our beloved Dallas Cowboys, DC4L. I have them at number 5 right now, and I'll explain how they can move up. And then at number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins. They are sitting at a cool, crisp number 4 after getting their shit rocked by the Buffalo Bills. I had them at number 1 last week. At number 3, they didn't do anything and didn't move up or down and had Taylor Swift win them the game. You've got the Kansas City Taylor Swifts. They're sitting cool, crisp number 3. And then the hot 2 for the week is Buffalo Bills after they annihilated and killed the Dolphin like Jim Irsay did. They have them sitting at number 2. And then the number 1 team that Dallas will beat on Sunday, even though I gave the prediction they won't, the San Francisco 49ers with the luckiest quarterback in the league, Brock Purdy. And like Hunter said, you could put any Brock in that system, and you could even put a fat ass in that system, and they're going to win ball games. So that is my top 10 rankings. If Dallas wins on Sunday, they automatically move to 32nd in the league because everybody will tell you that this was a bum game and that the 49ers are not good. So there you go. That's my top 10 rankings.
You said fat ass so aggressively.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
You said even a fat ass. Whoa.
Josh Allen is front runner for MVP. Well, technically, but
Look, you could throw Lizzo in San Francisco's offense, and they're going to move the football. Okay,
He's about to get canceled, Brian. You better watch out.
I think I'm already canceled after this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
All right, starting off with our top 32 teams in the NFL. We have number 32, the Miami Dolphins, because they lost and they were in my top 10. Okay, so they go all the way back down to the bottom. Okay, now we're gonna skip all the way back to number 1. Number 1, we got the Houston Astros. Let's go, AL West champions, baby. Suck it, Jared. Number 2, we have the Tyler Junior College Apaches. They got a nice win over the NEO, who God knows who, and is a struggle, but we won. We're ranked number 6 in the nation in JCAA, but we're number 2 in the NFL. Number 3 is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. Okay. They keep winning. Okay. Number 4, Number 4 going to be Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. Then we're going to have nobody does the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Nobody does the
wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
There we go. And I got to make a change. Number 33 is the Kansas City Chiefs because Taylor Swift gave me COVID. Then after the Buffalo Bills, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Then we have the Dallas Cowboys, because I'm not putting them in my top 5 until they beat a decent team, especially according to the media, because every team they beat sucks ass.
That's right.
Then we have
And we do too.
Yeah. Then we have the Detroit head coach who's a lover of kneecaps, Lions. Next, we have Geno. Didn't write back, but he definitely came into the game after getting rocked after Drew Lock came in and balled out. We have the Seattle Seahawks. Then my kind of 2 sleeper picks after that, we got the Baker Mayfield Dirty 30 Buccaneers. And then we got Jared's people, the CJ Stroud boys, the Houston Texans. So we got them in, and that rounds off my top 33 teams in the NFL right there.
Good God. I am, in fact, not a Stroud boy. Well, to give you a little visual here again, like I did last week, not much is changing. Of course, you got number 1. We'll start here. We got the Denver Broncos coming back. Victory. Russ was cooking a fold-over sandwich against the worst team in football, Justin Fields and Matt Eberflus. Moving down, you got the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen. This is pre-winter Josh Allen. Once he starts getting into those winter categories, it starts getting a little tough. Those white sleeves come out. He looks a little fatter. Beard's growing a little bit worse, and he looks like a Wyoming boy had a little bit too much Buffalo Trace whiskey. Number 3, A-Chain 47 takes the reins there. Nick Sirianni and his sunken eye sockets will take number 4. Taylor Swift and the vaccine will take number 5 for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Arizona Cardinals are at number 6, tied with the Dallas Cowboys. Until Dallas beats the Arizona Cardinals, they will not move from that spot. So DC4L, Dax Cock for life. Number 7, we got the Ravens, the busted up Ravens. Number 8, Dan Campbell. You are going to prison for what you're doing to Jahmyr Gibbs. This is worse than, nonviolent offenders spending life in prison. I mean, if you go play running back in Detroit, get the hell out of there. You might as well just spend your rest of your life in actual prison than play for the Detroit Lions. And, of course, like everyone said already, ain't right back yet. Sorry, I was unoriginal there. But DSL, Geno Smith, came back into the game. And then, of course, number 10, you got Brandon Staley. We got the Rams, the Chargers, and the Bucs all kind of right there. Juggle it. I was about to do the Skip Bayless quote.
Juggle it, bounce it, swallow it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, whatever you do. Get up, swallow it. Yeah. What I think is so that rounds out my top 10 power rankings there. So we'll finish out with our records of the week, and let's get the hell out of here before we get canceled.
Yeah.
I'll start with mine. Actually, sorry, the medical guy. I'll allow you to start first. I just closed out my document.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with my record for the week. It's going to be another statistical record. But it's going to go shout out to the Minnesota Twins. They won their first playoff game in the last 19 playoff games they've played. And so that's dating back to 2004. So you can imagine how many times they've been in the playoffs and had to lose to go 18 games, making the playoffs and not winning a single playoff game. So shout out to them. They won one. Monkeys off their back. They're good to go. Hopefully they lose to the Astros the next round. And then, their streak can start back over.
That's an easy one. Oh, Brian?
My record of the week, and I want to shout this out. We've said it a couple times on this podcast. Moving goalposts. All of a sudden the Jets defense is good again. But when Dak shredded them, they weren't good. But then when they stopped Josh Allen, they were good. So my record of the week is moving goalposts. Like, it only applies to Dak Prescott, and I'm really getting sick of it. And it's always going to be like that because we're Dallas fans. But, like, give the man credit where credit is due. And it's kind of ridiculous that all of a sudden how fast, like we were just talking about in power rankings, like all of a sudden a team's not good anymore. So if the Dallas Cowboys, like I said, beat the San Francisco 49ers, then the 49ers in my rankings will go down to 33, and they will be under the TJC Apaches. So, yeah, moving goalposts for record of the week.
And to touch on my record, that was the longest losing streak in the history of all major sports leagues ever.
Wow.
18 in a row.
That is
where they go and either get bounced first game or they go into it and then it's like, boom, they lose 2 in a row, 3 in a row, and they're out. Like, don't win a single damn game in a series.
Wow. That's atrocious. Hunter?
Yeah, one of the little awkward.
We're just all staring at the screen, just like
looking at his mic, bro.
My verse of the day gonna be a little different.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Peter 5:7. Basically, if you're going through a little bit of a rough stretch and you have all this anxiety building up, you're stressing, pray to him, and you will. It might not come right away, but all that anxiety will be casted away because he cares for you. Plain and simple, but
hell yeah.
Give everything up to, the God that you look up to, whatever God that is, and let that anxiety leave your body.
That'll preach.
That'll preach. Respect. I shouldn't have gone last. Records of the week. He's on my miniature DB list. 111.8 to 111.64 W. 0.16. That's got to be a record for the smallest margin of victory in the history of fantasy sports. And there should have been a stat correction there. That was bad beat. Sorry, Cuzzo.
It's okay.
Well, next year we'll do one against the league median. All right, well, that wraps up our podcast. Track 16, the Rook and the Kid, featuring the medical guy and the analyst as our contributors. As always, we thank everybody for tuning in. Always give us feedback. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeart, Amazon Music. You can find us everywhere now. And you'll be able to listen to us on Apple for good audio. And then you'll be able to watch us both on YouTube and Spotify. So if you want a little bit of both, you can venture out to those. Just search TRAK podcast on each one, and we will pop up for you. And you'll see the blue and the white. Follow our Instagram, TRAK.pod, for any, and you can contact us there for any inquiries. All of our memes, videos, and stories will be on there. The kid and I will be operating the Twitter account at the TRAKpod. And, of course, you can always keep an eye out on each of our Twitter profiles for medical updates, statistical analysis, and then, of course, me and Hunter bantering around all the time. So appreciate you guys coming out. We'll see y'all next Wednesday. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. Go Astros.
Go Cowboys.
Go Rangers.
Go Astros.
Go Rangers. That's right. See y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's week.
Later, boys.